Well, hi, my name is Kelly Newman. I run Streamside Custom Rod and Guide Service, and we guide here on the Betsie River for salmon and also on the Asable. I run a custom rod business and retail outlet for a lot of high-quality fly fishing equipment.
This wasn't my first time fishing with Kelly, and as usual, it didn't take him very long to find the fish.
That's bigger fish than I thought. Come on back. Betsie River has just a great salmon fishery, and I started fishing this river back in the early 80s when I went to Central Michigan University. And since that time, with the decline of the Lake Huron fishery and the salmon over there, I started coming back over here for guide trips, and it's just been a super fishery since then.
This was my first trip on the Betsie, and I was very impressed, not only in the sheer number of fish we were seeing, but also in the condition and size. We were off to a good start as Kelly managed to land our first fish.
One of the deeper spots. There he is, nice big Chinook.
Tell us a little bit about that fish.
Oh, he ran way up there. He ran so fast, he got way around that log pile, all through that timber, and then he got snagged up. He's about probably 16, 18 pounds. Real nice, big, thick female. She's starting to get a little darker, but that's the color. Real thick fish. It's good to see them that size and coming out of Lake Michigan this year. But she'll spawn. That's the nice thing about the Betsie too, is almost all these are all wild Chinooks coming out of the Betsie. All right, let's let her go. One of the unique things about the Betsie is they do get early fish. And you get a lot of people asking about how many come in, and the August fishing is a little unpredictable, but yet it can be excellent at times. They get a good run of fish, but there's only a few numbers of people. And typically the biggest push of fish comes in September, and then later on in September fish start to spawn and the salmon do die. And typically you'll get some salmon running through the middle of October. Well, right now what we're doing is we're targeting these big deep holes. We're down through a section that has a fair amount of gravel, but this time of year the kings just don't want anything to do with the gravel. And so then what we're doing is we're fishing these. Well, the last one was a woolly bugger. Woolly buggers, leeches, muddlers, and if need be some eggs and nymphs. And just rolling these guys right nice and deep right along the bottom. For the early fishing in August, there's a number of different methods that work extremely well for the Chinooks. We started out this morning down by the lake, and we were casting some bigger streamers, big bait fish patterns on sink tips. That's a little streaky. It can be excellent at times. Today we didn't do any good, but those fish just come through in pods. And then upstream today, we were fishing a lot of holes with a duck and chuck type rig and a running line with a little bit of split shot. Basically fishing muddlers and leeches, woolly buggers, and just bouncing bottom into deep, slow sand holes. Well, one of the coolest things about the Chinooks here on the Betsie and all throughout Lake Michigan is they are one of the most powerful fish in the Great Lakes. They grow big. Some people give them a bad rap because they get old and they do die, and people are fishing them when they're spawning. But these late summer fish are, like I said, they're the best fighting fish we really have in the Great Lakes. It's quite as big, which isn't a bad thing. There's a real nice Chinook. Not quite as big as the last one, but just a beautiful fresh run fish. Get him back in the water a little bit.
For those of you who have fished for salmon before, you know that these fish have tremendous power. And when you congregate a large group of them in a shallow river like this, it becomes very difficult to land them. Now, we were hooking fish left and right, but we were having a tough time putting many in the net. This is pretty typical of salmon fresh out of the lake, and the fact that we were fly fishing didn't increase our odds of landing these big fish.
Oh. Dang. Oh, there's a fighter there.
Oh, look at them all.
Look at them all. Back to my muddler. They don't like it in open salmon when they're really fresh. The only problem when they're in that wide open sand though, they go a long way. That's when we land them. Check that muddler. I like my new Sage 1 rod. Beautiful fish. Well, the one thing about the salmon that they do get a bad rap is many people do come late. And a lot of people think the peak salmon time is in October. And those fish are spawning, don't fight well, and are dying. And this late summer period can be a much more unique time. Sometimes the fish numbers won't be as large, but you got nice fresh fish, and it makes it a very unique fishery when there's salmon that size inside the rivers. There you go. They got a little action shot.
A little air time.
Good for not breaking them off. Out of the mud. Oh yes, beautiful salmon.
There's still plenty of good salmon fishing to be had. Most of the rivers are full of fish now and should hold good numbers for the next few weeks. If you've never given the Betsie River a try when it comes to salmon, you may just want to make the trip. Hooking into one of these fresh salmon is bound to have you coming back for years to come.
Took a little bit of work.